When you start thinking of a Roth IRA, it is probably one of the best investment vehicles that we see towards retirement, and it is one of the top choices for financial experts. But could a Roth 401k be a better option for a majority of people? That is what we're going to be looking at in today's video. When we start thinking about a Roth 401k instead of a Roth IRA, a lot of employers are now starting to offer this option, including my employer itself, which I am taking full advantage of. Now, a lot of people do not know that a Roth option is available for 401ks at all, and you could be missing out on some big advantages over a Roth IRA. Now, Roth 401k can be exactly what you need to increase your savings while giving you some financial flexibility. In today's video, we're going to be looking at 3 reasons why you should use that Roth 401k instead of using that Roth IRA. Now, the big one, starting with number 1, is the employer match. If you're prioritizing a Roth IRA over a 401k, you could get a matching contribution from your employer, which is free money. When you start thinking about contributions, for instance, you put in 6%, your employer puts in 6%, you are automatically getting a 100% bonus on your money, which is huge. Employers currently can offer up to 25% of your compensation as a matching contribution, but most companies stick between that 3 and 6%. But it's not super uncommon to see employers actually putting in 5 to 10% of your salary, which is great to hear. Now, the catch is to have the contribution within the 401k plan, you yourself have to put in the contributions. So like I said earlier in the scenario, if you're putting in 6%, they're putting in 6%, that is a really good contribution with getting that match. Now, employer matches are usually put into pre-tax account, but now some plans and most plans that do offer the Roth option have the ability, with the passage of Secure Act 2.0, if you value the characteristics of a Roth account, it's worthy to talk to your HR, see if there is an option to have a Roth implementation into the 401k. Like I said earlier, that's exactly what we got. This is the first year we do have the option to put our money into a Roth 401k versus putting it into a traditional 401k that ultimately is going to lead into a traditional IRA, which is going to require those required minimum distributions or those RMDs when you hit retirement age. Now, the second option is 401k loan options. Now, this one, even though we're going to cover it, I do not recommend borrowing against your 401k. It is the absolute last investment vehicle that you should use. When it comes to retirement, you are sacrificing your retirement by using a loan option, but a Roth IRA allows you penalty-free, tax-free of your contributions at any time. However, Roth 401ks can give you up to half the access of your account, including the growth, so you can go ahead and borrow that money. The big thing with that is it allows you to withdraw up to 50% of your account balance or up to $50,000 as a loan for yourself if you need temporary cash, if you need something to go ahead and put some money down, which again, I do not really advise this option, but the biggest benefit to this is you have the ability to put the money back in there. When we start thinking of a Roth IRA, if you do the withdrawal from the Roth IRA, you are locked into yearly or annual contribution limits that you're going to get stuck with the IRA. If you're taking 50K out of that Roth 401k, you have the ability to put that $50,000 back into that investment account, which is the reason why I do recommend, if you're looking at doing this loan, Roth 401k loans. Now, the drawback or the catch to this one as well, you have to pay the money back, and most of the money that is paid back comes from withdrawals from your paycheck. So if you're looking at a $50,000 loan, let's say it's over 5 years, not only do you usually owe interest on there, is there could be a penalty if you don't pay it back in time, could be considered a withdrawal. And of course, you're going to have a little bit of a less cash flow if you're doing this out of your paycheck, which of course they do. Well, you want to avoid withdrawing money from your retirement savings at all. If there is truly an emergency, which should be covered in entirety by your emergency fund, you can go ahead and do that 401k loan out of there. And the third one is simplicity. This is the big one that people overlook. When we talk about simplicity, once you set up that Roth 401k, you put the contributions where you want them to be invested, it automatically happens. That is right. It is set up automatically. It is straightforward from your paycheck. You don't see the money hit the bank account. You don't have to do the contributions. Automatic payroll deductions is the way to do it and the way to guarantee that your retirement is going to be fully funded. A lot of people take it from their paycheck if they're going to make those Roth IRA contributions. They take the money, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. This happens automatically with the 401k. And of course, the big thing and the drawback with this one, like we talk about with the other ones, is 401ks can sometimes have fewer investment options. That is the reason why when you start looking at 401ks in general is if they have a really good investment portfolio that you can put money into, great. Go ahead, invest, go ahead and max it out, put your 15% in there. And that is what we're trying to get to. When you think of the big overarching how much we're looking to save in a savings account, 15% of your income is the number we're looking for. Now, like I was saying, when it comes to, let's say, matching a 401k of the 6% that we used earlier, if you're putting in 6%, your employer is matching that 6%, and you do not have very good investment options, I would just put in enough to get that employer match. Don't go above and beyond that, even though it is into a 401k plan. If the investment you're putting money into is not beneficial, I would, again, put in enough to get that company match, taking the other percentage, which in this case is that 9%, putting it into a brokerage account, putting it into that Roth IRA instead of that 401k. And that way you know what it's invested in, and putting it into a lot of investment strategies or putting it into something like the S&P 500, which is great. Now, the best way to do this, and I really advise it in all of my videos, is low cost index fund investing. That is what a lot of plans offer, including my own. My 401k plan is a Roth 401k plan. It is invested in the State Street S&P 500. So it is a very, very low cost index fund that follows the S&P 500. Like Warren Buffett has said, 90% of your portfolio in that S&P 500 remaining into bonds, which I don't like the bond case. So putting everything, and I know it's all kind of everything in one nest egg, but when you think about the ETF and the S&P 500, it's not really. If I was investing into one single company, I could absolutely see where putting everything into one bucket would make sense, but putting it into an EFT that tracks 500 different stocks across every sector of the investment strategy or every sector of that S&P 500 index, it makes it well worth it. Now, of course, you don't have to overthink it. You just set it and forget it with the 401k plan, as long as those investments are going into an account that you did your research on and you know what it's going into. So if you're ignoring the 401k option, I definitely recommend switching the Roth IRA money to the Roth 401k. And of course, with the Roth 401ks, you can put a lot more money in when it comes to contribution limits. And of course, you have to know the fees. When it comes to investing in some of these 401k plans, there can be a lot of fees behind it. They can charge you a percentage fee. You have to make sure, but if you're getting that employer match, it is probably going to be above and beyond worth it to get those fees. So make sure, guys, you look into that 401k plan. You know exactly what you're investing in. For a majority of us, the 401k plan is going to be the absolute biggest investment account that you will ever have in your life. Putting money in there automatically through payroll contributions for an extended amount of time, getting it to grow during that time, you have to make sure it's properly invested. And of course, I love the Roth options, whether it is an IRA or a 401k, paying it after tax. When you start looking at compounding growth, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, when you start looking at the compounding growth, the ability to put money into an account and essentially take only a little bit out when you get to retirement, but the compounding factor starts going so fast and starts snowballing so large that it's going to be well worth it versus that traditional option, where when you take out the money of the snowballing and the compounding interest, you are getting taxed on that money itself. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next video.